everybody, welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for clicking on this one. My name is Will from You Know Nothing, and Season 7 of Game of Thrones has ended. It's a sad day, but also an awesome day because we've got the finale episode of Season 7, which was insane. We're going to break it down, talk about some of the best moments, some Easter eggs that you might not have noticed, so let's get into it. So the beginning of the episode I found kind of weird because it was some characters that we've not seen all together at the same place in the show, especially because at the beginning of the show everything was so spread out, all the characters were so spread out across the world, and now they're all together at the same place and everything's moving so fast. It was just weird, but there was some nice coming together of some characters, like with Tyrion and Bronn and Tyrion and Pod, those two characters coming together, the Hound and Brienne. That was a pretty cool interaction about Arya, and I'd like to see the Hound and Arya meet up again together. Even Brienne and Jaime a little bit later on. So before they bring the White out, the Hound goes up to the mountain and kind of squares up to him, calls his mum fat, even though he realises that's his mum as well. But he says that he's coming for him, which kind of sets up for Clegane Bowl for next season, possibly, because that is a fight that I definitely want to see. So they bring the White out, and it's kind of a bit of a comedy sketch because the White doesn't come out and you're kind of waiting for the jump scare, and the Hound kicks the box and it comes running off and sprints towards Cersei, and it's one of the only times that you really see Cersei scared or show any kind of emotion really that isn't towards her own kids, because she doesn't show that much emotion or fear at all. When she does, it shows so much more than if it was any other character. So Cersei's kind of scared, but Qyburn kind of gets a bit of a stiffy over it, so he got kicked out of the Citadel for testing on alive bodies to find out about the dead, instead of testing on dead bodies to find out about the living. He tested on live bodies. That's why he got kicked out of the Citadel when he was a maester. But he's got a stiffy over the Hand. He's like, oh my god, this is so amazing. I'm going to keep this for later, everybody, for science purposes, I promise. And then it seems as if Euron's like, you know what, I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to an island and I'm going to let it all blow over, like I'm going to pretend I'm at the Winchester. And he goes off. But later on we figure out that he actually had a deal with Cersei, and Euron has gone to Essos to get the Iron Bank and the Golden Company to come back and attack Jon and Daenerys whilst they've gone north, which is snaky move, but I knew that Cersei was going to have something up her sleeve. So we get the first Cersei and Tyrion scene in ages. Literally, this is the first time they've seen each other since it was Joffrey's wedding. And it's quite a big payoff. I thought it was a really, really good scene. Cersei finally has the chance to actually kill Tyrion right in front of her, even though she's already tried to kill him twice before that Tyrion knows of, and he says that in the show. But she doesn't do it. And then Tyrion realises that she's actually pregnant, and then that's where the scene cuts. So we imagine that Tyrion uses that to try and convince Cersei about the truce with Daenerys until the threat from the north is handled with. But we know that doesn't go well. So we also finally got the payoff with Littlefinger. It was a bit of a snake. He was looking all smug, standing in the throne room because Sansa brought Arya in. He thought he was going to charge Arya with some kind of mental crime. And then she was like, you're charged with murder and being a snake. Aren't you, Littlefinger, you little calf? And the look of surprise on his face, and I think the actor did a really good job in this scene. And it just shows how good of a game player Littlefinger was, that he actually only really got beaten because of Bran's warg green seer ability. So Cersei comes out and she's like, yeah, truce, no worry, don't worry about it, guys, we'll be friends for a little bit. She's obviously lying. So they all go back to Dragonstone, and Jaime and Cersei kind of have a little bit of a Barney. Jaime's preparing all the armies to go north, and Cersei's like, did you really believe I was going to be a friend for a bit? You're an idiot, Jaime. And one of the greatest payoffs on the show is Jaime actually leaving Cersei. He realises what a crazy cow she is, and he leaves, which is amazing. So in the books, at the last point in the books, they're not friends at all. They absolutely hate each other. So in the show, they've liked each other for a lot longer than they did in the books. But Jaime is one of my favourite characters, so I'm glad he's finally left Cersei. Whatever happens to him in Season 8, I'm going to come up with some Season 8 predictions, and that'll be another video coming out soon. But I hope it's going to be some good stuff. So Jaime gets out of a toxic relationship as Jon possibly gets into one. Possibly. I kind of like the relationship that they have. It's kind of cute, and I kind of want them to get together, but knowing that they're related, I kind of don't at the same time. So some of the scenes at the Dragonpit where Jon says, you're not just anyone, you're special, blah, 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 blah. It is quite cute, and it sets up for what happens later. So back at Dragonstone, there's quite a good scene with Theon and Jon, where Theon's like, oh, you always know what to do, what's best, whereas I was always stuck whether to pick a Stark or a Greyjoy. And Jon's like, no, you don't have to choose, you're both Stark and Greyjoy, which is quite a good link between Jon being a Stark and a Targaryen, how he's going to take it himself, whether he takes his own advice and he's like, yeah, I'm a Stark and a Targaryen. So Theon was basically sucking up to Jon, and Jon was like, why are you still speaking to me? Go and save Yara. So Theon goes outside, has a tussle with some of the other Greyjoy people, gets kneed in the balls 3 times, but alas, he doesn't have any balls, so he smiles in the face of death and beats the other guy, and looks like they're going to head to try and save Yara wherever she is. So I guess that's one situation that's a benefit of not having any genitals. Samwell Tarly makes his way back to Winterfell. He meets with Bran straight away, and Bran's like, I am the three-eyed raven, and Samwell Tarly looks at him like he's completely lost his marbles, which he kind of has. But Sam does the man's job of taking credit over his woman and tells Bran that Rhaegar annulled his marriage to Elia Martell and got married to Lyanna Stark. And we get a cool little flashback and we finally see Rhaegar, which I was kind of disappointed at with the Rhaegar character. Because in my head, I imagined him to be like an amazing being like Thor. Whereas in reality, in the show, he just looks like Viserys, who we know from the show as being Daenerys' other brother. And he was just a really, really hateable character. So he just reminded me of Viserys, and I wish they styled him to look a little bit different. However, I've also seen a picture of the 3 actors side by side, and they do look like it was a good casting for siblings. However, it's just the way they styled his hair. It was the same as Viserys, and I didn't like that. So we also find out what Jon Snow's real name is. It's Aegon Targaryen, which weirdly, if you didn't know the heritage of Rhaegar, he already had a son with Elia called Aegon. So there was already an Aegon Targaryen, which in the books, we don't know if he's died or not. No, I want another kid called Aegon, please. He just couldn't think of any other names. So I'm going to carry on calling him Jon Snow. So the meeting of the 2 big characters, Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen, finally comes to... Winter has come with 6 inches of snow. Oh God, how did I just say that? So he walks into Daenerys' room on the boat, and it doesn't say anything. He doesn't need to say anything. Game of Thrones, incest. But it is quite a good scene. I've seen some behind the scenes clips of Emilia Clarke and Kit Harington, how they reacted to filming the scene and knowing that they were actually related. It was pretty funny. So in the final scene, the White Walkers, the Whites, the Night King, they make their way, and they've made it to the wall that stood for 8,000 years, and the Night's King comes flying in, which seems really, really fast on Viserion, so we see how Viserion works as a White Walker dragon. And I don't know if it was just the way that it was filmed or the way that it was shot or edited, but it looked super fast, faster than any dragons we've seen so far, and it took down the wall, completely destroyed it. With Tormund and Beric on top of the wall, we don't know if they escaped or not. I assume they did because they're quite big characters, so if they were going to die, they'd do it on screen. I hope they survived anyway. But it looks insane. The wall is finally down, and the producers of the show knew that this was going to be the finale of the penultimate season, so season 7. They knew that they were going to get past the wall at this point. So it was an amazing scene, and then the Whites just slowly, casually, with no rush, walk past the wall in to north of Westeros, and it's going to be insane next season. Oh my God. The Night's King is going to have some good barbecues on the way down. So winter has now officially come, and that is the end of season 7. It's a sad day, but all good things have to come to an end. What a season. The season did feel different. I don't really know why that was. I think it's to do with the pacing, because we started off with Game of Thrones. There were so many more characters, the pace of the show was a lot slower, and now it's all coming to an end, it's a lot faster. But that's what is going to happen, but it's still the Game of Thrones show that I love. So some of the next videos that are going to be on my channel, leave some bonus requests if you've got any ideas of what I could do. I'm going to do some top moments of Season 7, a lot more theories, Season 8 predictions, all that good stuff. If you've got any good ideas, let me know in the comments down below. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you've watched this far, you're awesome. And I'll see you all in my next one. Adios, amigos.